The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to this morning's Helpline session with your host, Craig Proctor.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Helpline session. This is your opportunity to get directly to the source and ask me any questions that you have. The questions can be about marketing. It can be about your team. It can be about technology, problems you're having with your broker or other agents, anything that's on your mind. And as you progress through the week, I recommend that you should be writing down your questions so you can ask questions of myself and of your coach. Your coach is available by email 24/7. And, of course, you've got your regular sessions booked with your coach as well. So there's a couple ways you can get your questions answered. You can type them into the chat box, and everybody sees where the chat box is. You can type them there, or you can raise your hand and you can ask an audio question. And, Andrea, maybe you can remind everybody how they do that, especially those that are fairly new with us.
Yes, sir. If you are on a telephone, which is preferable, or you have a working mic on your computer or device, you can click the hand icon. It's going to be a little yellow hand to the top left or right of your webinar control panel on your desktop. Just click that with your mouse or tap it with your finger, depending on what device you're on, and then I will see that you've raised your hand and I can open your mic.
Yes, and questions, I'm just going to try to get the creative juices flowing here. Your questions could be about your listing presentation, your buyer presentation, how to handle certain objections. So this is really a free-for-all. You can ask me any questions about any part of your business. So let's go to chat questions and audio questions, Andrea. As they come in, I'll let you field the questions to me.
Okay, we already have several in the queue. Our first from Alan says, I apologize because you've shown us before, but I am finding the USP certificates, but having trouble finding the script. In addition, I only found the 6 performance guarantees. I believe there are more. Where are they? So, Craig, I know you and I discussed this, and I'm going to get with Adrian to make sure everything is updated. But just... I'll go to the ad generator right now. Let's see.
Yeah, go to the ad generator, and particularly for those that are new with us, you probably aren't aware of this. So Andrew's going to take you to the ad generator, and when you get to the ad generator, you can select from classified ads, editorial ads, or USP ads. And what Ellen is referring to, he's referring to the USP ads. Okay, so everybody, just show everybody, go back and show everybody again how you got to there. Okay, so what I was attempting to do here, and I think we've done a pretty good job, is I'm trying to make it really, really easy for you to run your ads exactly the way that I ran my ads and exactly the way our top members run theirs. So you've heard me at the Super Conference say what we tried to do with this system. I mean, that's what a system is all about, is making sure that you use it exactly the way it's designed. We've tried to remove discretion from the operating level. That means we made it really easy for you to copy. So under USP ads, you can see we've got USP ads for buyers. Maybe you can just highlight that, Andrea. And then below that, for sellers. Okay, so let's click on the first one under sellers, Andrea. Your home sold in X amount of days or I'll buy it. Okay, so that's the guaranteed sale program. So we've got this script. It says download the script. If you can place your mouse on that, Andrea, that's the script. And then we've got the corresponding special report. And now what we're working on is we're working on adding all the certificates. Okay, so there's the hotline script. There's the special report that goes with that. So we'll show you a couple more. Now, especially for those of you that are new with us, I understand that the Guaranteed Sale Program, it may be kind of scary for you. So we'll look at some USPs that all of you can run. Okay, now, for those of you that are in our brand new coaching program, brand new with us in the coaching, so let's go back under, the ad generator again, please, Andrea. I just want to show everybody a USP that's not about the guaranteed sale program, because sometimes people get a little bit anxious about that. So why don't we move down to the one that says 100% of your asking price, we pay the difference. Let's click on that one. Okay, so here's something all of you could do, right? Your home sold for 100% of the asking price, guaranteed, or I'll pay you the difference, with the big condition being that the seller has to agree to your list price. Okay, and then there would be a maximum to what you would contribute. So it might be, you might contribute up to all of your commission on the listing side, or maybe only $2,000. You decide. Okay, let's go back and look at another one, Andrea. Let's look at your home. So the second one down under sellers, your home sold in X days, or I'll pay you X. Okay, so here's something all of you can do. Now, Andrea, show everybody how you can set the parameters. You see, Andrea changed 120 to 60 days. So you just enter what you want your offer to be. So let's say I'm in a real high-end market. I might want that to be $2,000 or $500 like Andrea has done. Okay, now I have to have my name and my company name at the bottom of the ad, so Andrea's going to enter that. So you can just put an ABC Realtor or whatever, and whatever disclaimer that you have to have on your ads, that'll automatically be entered. Okay, and your USP at the very top. So you want to find a USP that makes sense for this offer. So if a prospect only remembered the USP, if they only saw the US or the domain name rather, they would know exactly what they're going to find when they get there. So it might be 60-day sale guarantee.com. Okay, and if you're from Orlando, that one for sure is going to be available, right? Orlando 60dayguarantee.com. So that's how you use the ad generator. Now, I guess while we're here, Andrea, we might as well look at an editorial ad. Let's just go there quickly. And I'm sure James has done this on the Ad Clinic, but just a little bit of review since we're here. So home seller mistakes. Okay, now I can go in and I can change new market. I could change that to Miami. Okay, and I can enter all my disclaimers at the bottom, my name, my company name, sales rep, broker, whatever. In California, of course, I have to add my license number, so you have to be aware of what your disclaimer needs to be. But the idea is make it as small as possible, because we want the focus in the ads to be about the benefit for the consumer, not about us. Now, the USP ads are about us, but the USP ads are different than image-style advertising in the fact that we're not just creating an awareness of, hey, I'm Craig Proctor, the realtor. Attached to my identity is a very specific and tangible benefit. Okay, so hopefully that answers everyone's questions on how to use the ad generator. Let's move on and take some more questions, Andrea.
Okay, our next question from Mrs. Langdon. I got a request for a home evaluation from someone that, I'm sorry, it just popped off my screen. Hold on one second. I'll start over. I got a request for a home evaluation from someone that just happened to find my unbranded website. He left details and said the timeline 1 year. He lives in San Diego. That's 3 hours from Ms. Langdon. How should I go about dealing with this? I have not called back yet.
Okay, well, there's a couple ways you could do it. You could just refer the lead to one of our Quantum Leap members in San Diego, like Jim Bottrell is one of our top members. You could refer it to him, and if he gets somewhere with that lead, you'll get 25%. Or you could book the appointment and actually refer the appointment, and perhaps, maybe get a little higher referral fee because you're actually referring an appointment, not just a lead. But clearly 3 hours is too far away for you, Adele, to drive to. So Jim Bottrell is the guy that I would look up in San Diego. Just Google him, and he's a long-time member, and he will do a very good job with anything you refer to him.
Our next question from Beverly. As a new coaching member, should I start with branded or unbranded websites?
Well, if you could only afford one, I would go with the less branded. But keep in mind, as a new coaching member, Success Website is giving you both websites. They're giving you a free trial, I believe, for 60 days. So why not take them up on the free trial? And after the 60 days, or I guess before the 60 days is over, you could decide which one of them you want to give up. But as far as pure lead generation, and this is a very good question, Beverly, as far as pure lead generation, I always generated more leads with the less branded approach. And that's, probably easy for you all to understand, right? Because nobody really wants to talk to a real estate agent. What we're offering with the less branded side is information that buyers and sellers really want. We're making it easy and non-threatening for the buyers and sellers to get that. So there is a place, of course, a reason to have a branded website because, in my marketplace, there's people that know me and like me and want to talk to Craig Proctor, the real estate agent, so they go to my branded site. I'm going to when I'm advertising my properties, my USPs, I'm going to be promoting my branded website. But there's far more people in my marketplace and in yours who don't only not want to talk to me, they don't want to talk to any real estate agent. They just want to get information. So that's why the less branded site always outpulls. Yeah, there's my branded site right there. So if you go to craigproctorsite.com, you can see my branded site. And if you go to York Region Home Sales, there it is. There's my less branded site. So you might want to write that down. My branded site is craigproctorsite.com. And my less branded site is yorkregionhomesales.com. And, of course, the area I work is called York Region. So your less branded site should have a name that makes sense to your marketplace. So if I'm in San Diego, it might be, San Diego homesales.com or homeinfo.com, something like that. I guess I can read a couple of these questions myself, and then we'll go to some audio questions, Andrea. Remember, you can actually speak to me. We want to mix it up here and actually speak to some of you. You can raise your hand. And do we have anyone in the audio queue right now, Andrea?
We do. We have several hands raised. But do you want to go to one of those?
Yeah, why don't we take a few of those and we'll go back to the chat questions.
Okay, Sandy Casella, your computer mic is now open.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, Sandy. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Excellent.
I have a question for you in terms of follow-up. So not long-term follow-up, but let's say, so here's what I'm running into an issue with sometimes. So if I call a lead and then I can't book an appointment, but I think I should book an appointment. So let's say I can't book an appointment. I'm trying to book one for 2 or 3 days out, and then I say, well, let's set something up, and if it doesn't work, you can change it, but they won't do that. And they say, call me Monday night or whatever, and we can book something because then I'll know my work schedule. I'm having trouble when I call them back that short of a time, what to say. So I just don't know what to say to them when I call them back then.
Okay, so let's do a quick role play here, and we get right down to the part. I'll be the agent, and you tell me what the prospect's saying. So I'm saying, okay. Well, would you like to get together so I can give you a free market analysis, and we can not only can I give you an accurate assessment of what your home is worth, I could give you tips on what to do and what not to do to prepare your home for sale. We could go over a net sheet and answer any of the questions that you have. It's absolutely free of charge and no obligation at all. Would that interest you?
Sure. Yeah, it sounds good.
Great. Well, when would be a good time for us to get together, days or evenings?
You know what? Usually evenings are better.
Okay. Well, what's good for you this week? Is Tuesday better or Wednesday?
You know what? I don't get my work schedule until tomorrow, and then my wife has to get her work schedule. So give me a call back on Wednesday. We'll have our schedules, and then we can set something up for later this week or maybe the weekend.
Are you able to set up a tentative time since we're both on the phone right now? Do you want to set up a tentative time? And if that time doesn't work out, once you speak to your spouse, just give me a call back and we can switch the time?
No, because I don't know if it's going to be morning or afternoon. Tell you what, just give me a call Wednesday and we can set something up.
Okay, so that's fine. So now I call back on. I'm going to call back on Wednesday. So ring, ring. Hi, may I speak to Sandy?
Speaking.
Hey, Sandy, it's Craig Proctor with ABC Realty. I was speaking to you a couple of days ago, and you asked me to call you back on Wednesday to see if we could set up a time to get together so we could have a look at your property and give you some information on what it's worth, and we could go through a net sheet, give you some information on what to do to prepare it for sale, etc.
Okay. Okay, that answers my question.
Right? I mean, they asked you to follow up, so you make sure you reference that.
Right, but I wasn't sure if I should go through the whole script or just dive right in and say you wanted me to call you back. Let's set up a time.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need to go through the whole script because the reason we have a script is so you ask them all those questions because why? You want to know the answers, right? But now you already have the answers. So there's no need for you, when you call them back a couple days later, to go through the whole thing. Now, the exception to that would be if the prospect said, well, call me back in, 6 months.
Right.
Now, what we teach you is you always should call them back in half the time they tell you. So if they tell you 6 months, you call them back in 3 months. If 3 months have gone by, I probably want to go through those questions again. Why? In case something's changed. But, what's really changed between, Monday and Wednesday? Not much. So I think that would just be annoying to the prospect if you asked them all the questions that you just had already asked them 48 hours ago. I think you want to start off the conversation by saying who you are. This is Sandy, and the reason I'm calling is because you asked me to. You asked me to call you back on Wednesday, and just wonder if we could set up a time, and then you want to repeat the benefit again. So I repeated the benefit to you so I can have a closer look at your house, give you a real accurate assessment of what your home would be worth. We can go over a net sheet to figure out exactly what you're going to net in your pocket. And by looking at your house, I can give you some tips on what to do and what would not be worth doing to sell your home for the most amount of money. Now, you could throw in some other things to that as well. You could say we could talk about timing. Sometimes if they're buying another home and they've got a home to sell, they're concerned about timing. And you could also say this and then answer any other questions that you have. So we want to just make that, a very valuable offer where there's something in that offer that's going to be appealing to every seller. So what have we talked about here? We've talked about getting an accurate price on their home. And no doubt every seller would realize that if a realtor would actually come and look at the home, they could give them a more accurate assessment than over the phone or by just emailing them information. You're going to go through all the costs incurred. They always want to know about that, what they're going to net in their pocket, what to do and what not to do to price and prepare their home for sale. We could talk about timing. When's a good time for you to do this? That's another question they ask a lot. And answer any other questions that you have. It's free of charge and no obligation. When would be a good time for us to meet?
Okay, that helps. Thank you so much.
All right, Sandy. That's a good question. And when it's real close, when you've already talked to them, asked them all the questions, and if a couple days or a few weeks go by, I don't think it's necessary to go through all those questions again because you already have the answers to the questions.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, Sandy. Let's go back to Andrea and see if there's any other audio questions.
Yes, we have a lot of members who have raised their hand. Our next, Bob Connor, your telephone line is open.
Hey, Bob.
Good morning.
Hey, Bob, where are you from again? Where are you calling from?
Virginia.
Virginia. How are you doing today, Bob?
I'm doing fine. How are you guys today?
Yeah, I know I've seen your name here a lot, and I just I forgot what part of the country you're in. So, Bob, what's on your mind today?
Got several questions for you. What's the best time of the month to send out the online home evaluation and your neighborhood every door direct mail campaign?
Well, I don't know if there's a best time of the month. I think there's probably better months. I know, for example, with the expired program, that the third week of every month, that week seemed very good because most listings expire at the end of the month. So running the home seller expired program was a good program to run the third week of every month because of that. But outside of that program, if you're running, was the online home evaluation?
Yeah.
Okay. what I found is certain months worked better than other months. So I would send more of those postcards out in the spring market. Why? Because there were more sales in my market during the spring. More people listing their home. So right. February, March, April, I would double up during those months. But then other months of the year, maybe November and December, might be a little quieter, or maybe in the summertime. But hear me on this. I might lighten up a bit, but I never stop. And this is a mistake a lot of realtors make when they go into what they assume is a slower time of the year. So, Thanksgiving, Christmas, around that time of year, a lot of realtors stop running their lead generators, and it's, self-fulfilling. Of course, then that time of the year becomes slow for them. At Christmas time, for example, I run all my marketing campaigns. I'm not doubling up, but I'm running them all the way through the Christmas holidays. And here's how I rationalize that. First of all, anybody that's looking around to buy a home or to sell their home at Christmas has got to be very motivated, right? So you'll get fewer calls during that time of year, but if they're doing it, if they're out there looking around at houses and calling off signs, I found them to be very motivated. The other contributing factor as to why I don't back off during the holidays is the fact that all of our competitors do. So you've got less competition. There's less buyers and sellers out there, but you got a lot less competition because our competitors during the summer months sometimes talk themselves into, why do anything? Why run any ads? Why work? Nothing's happening anyway. And that's not true. If you look at your MLS statistics, you'll see that there are sales all throughout the year. But there's more sales usually in certain months. So that's what's going to dictate, Bob, when you're going to send more of your postcards out based on what months have the highest sales.
Okay. All right. Appreciate that. Now, another question for you. On the business card, your home sold guaranteed, or I'll buy it. When you hand the card to the client and the client has asked, how does that work? How much do you get into the program? How do you explain that?
This is on your business card?
Yeah.
Okay. I would say, have you already looked at their home? Let me ask you that. Have you looked at their house?
Well, no, not at that point.
Okay. Well, then I think you just use our standard line then. Just like if you get an ad call or sign call about, and they ask about the guaranteed sale program, you're going to say, when could I come and have a look at your home? And they'll say, well, gee, Bob, can't you just tell me, how the program works? And you say, I couldn't possibly tell you what I buy your home for without a chance to look at it first. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to go into too much detail, because if you said to, say it was just somebody calling you off of your, if you've got one of my sign riders on your for sale sign that says move up to this home and I'll buy your home for cash, and they call you and they ask you how it works, if you say to them, you've got to move up and buy one of my listings for this guarantee to apply to you, and if they're not buying another home, if they're moving out of the area, then not only will they eliminate the guaranteed sale program, they're likely going to eliminate you. They'll say, okay, Bob, I guess you can't help me because we're moving to Seattle. So
okay.
we don't want to limit anybody over the phone. The time to get into the details with them is when you're sitting at their kitchen table.
Okay. All right. Good enough. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Bob.
Okay.
Our next question is from Arvind Valub. Your line is open on my end. Go ahead and click unmute on your end. Go ahead, Arvind.
Good morning, Craig. Good morning, Andrea.
Good morning.
I have bold leads coming in, but I get addresses only. I do find the telephone numbers, and the problem is they don't answer those calls at times. So I want to circumvent that and print out the CMA and hand deliver it. At times I do find luck on Sundays. They do open up the door and they'll walk me in. So is that a better way to do it? Or
Well, I prefer to call them on the phone and have them answered, of course. But if if you've got the time to do that, if you've got their name and their address, and for whatever reason you can't reach them on the phone because they don't pick up the phone or you don't have their correct phone number or whatever, I have done that from time to time. Just go over and hand deliver it. If it's a really good address and I really want a listing in that area and I have the time to do that, you might want to schedule this into your day timer. So when you're out in that part of town, maybe doing on a listing appointment or whatever, then you've got yourself organized so you can drop that off on the way over to that part of town to go to another appointment.
Okay, so because these are just bold leads coming up, just addresses only, no names, no emails. And then through bold leads, I find the telephone numbers as well online.
Yeah, if you've got their name and their address, you can use 411.com or in Canada 411.ca, and you can often find their phone number. So try them on the phone first. Okay. And if I have a ton of leads where I've got their phone number, I'm probably not going to be too worried about the people who I don't have their phone number. So it's the number of leads that's going to dictate whether you're going to be running around knocking on people's doors. It's not. I agree. It's not the best way to do it, but I have done it before. If I've got a slower period and not as many leads, but I'll do it on the way to another appointment. So if I've got a listing appointment in Glenway Estates, and I'll have a file folder of these kind of leads where I only have their address, and I'm already heading over to Glenway Estates. I'm already going to be over there. I've driven 20 minutes over there. I might drop by, see if they're home. Why not?
Got it. Yeah, most of mine are less than 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
So from the office, that is.
Well, you try it, and if it's productive, you continue doing it. It's just not the best way to do it. It's obviously you're going to be able to cover a lot more ground on the phone, so that's the preferred method, and that's why we always want a phone number, because if they're not answering the phone, there's no guarantee that they're going to answer the door. It takes a lot less time to dial a phone number than to drive over to their house.
I agree. It's just I'm running into just calling, and then at times I just don't get any calls going through. Like in California, some of them are on do not call list and that, but also these are disconnected lines at times. That's what I'm running into.
Okay, now let's talk about the do not call law for a second. If they provided their phone number, they visited your website and they provided their phone number, even if the phone number is registered on the do not call list, you are legally able to call them within a 90-day period. Okay, that's an exclusion in the National Do Not Call Law. So we have to be aware of that. We have to know what the rules are. Now, these leads that are coming in that don't provide a phone number, if you look up their phone number and they're on the National Do Not Call list, you're not allowed to call them because they haven't given you their phone number. But if you look at the National Do Not Call Law, you'll see that one of the exclusions, and the most important exclusion for us, is that if the person who's registered their number on the Do Not Call list contacts you, you're exempt to call them within 90 days. Now, if they ask you not to call anymore, you have to respect that.
I understand. And the main ones are the white pages. You do find the names and numbers on the white pages, and it doesn't say it's not on the Do Not Call list. But I do call them. If they say, well, I'm on a Do Not Call list, how did you find my number? It's public information, and then they keep quiet.
Doesn't matter. If they ask you not to call them, okay. Now you can verify if their number is registered on the list, okay? Because sometimes they'll just say I'm on the National Do Not Call list, and it's not true. But I look at if they tell you not to call, don't call. It's that simple. They're not going to do business with you, and that's why we want to generate lots of leads. You see, the idea here. Look, way back when I had difficulty generating leads, I had to work with everybody. I had to run around and knock on doors and chase for sale by owners and expire listings. The cure to all of your problems are having so many leads that anybody that gives you the least amount of resistance, you say next.
Right.
Because you can.
Absolutely.
That's the position I want to get all you in, so you don't have to worry about, the one-off lead here, the one guy here, the rude person that does this. We don't want to have to worry about that. I want us to sell in a vacuum. I want us to work where there's very little competition, and I want us to work with people that want us because our marketing, the strength of our marketing, has positioned us as the obvious choice. The more resistance we get, especially initially, probably means we're going to be faced with that kind of resistance through the whole transaction. And
right.
Yeah, and with good marketing, all of that is unnecessary.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Arvind. All right, let's take one more audio, and then we'll go back to some of the chat questions, Andrea.
Yes, sir. Our next audio question comes from Jazz Bahi. Your line is now open. Unmute on your end. Jazz, go ahead and unmute on your end. There you go.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah. Good. Hey,
Yeah,
Craig. Hey, Andrew, how you doing? I'm sorry.
Sort of hear you. You're on a cell phone, kind of breaking up. But what's your question?
My apologies. I'm driving. That's why. Craig, the weather is getting a lot warmer, and I don't mind getting out and door knocking in my farm area that I'm farming. What's a good postcard, branded postcard that I could leave behind with them? Because I do unbranded marketing, that one that you were showing earlier, find out what the home down the street sold for and free market evaluation. But I also like to go and physically walk it and give them something in hand so they can kind of relate that I'm out there and I'm active, right?
Yep.
What's a good branded one that I can use to leave behind with them when I meet them at the door?
Well, that's a good question. Andrea, do you have that postcard handy that I sent you yesterday from Bill Watson?
I can get it. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah, you pull that up. One of our members in Denver, Colorado, is actually one of our coaches, a long-time member, Bill Watson. He's probably been in the program for 15 years. He sent me a postcard yesterday, and I sent it over to Andrew, and I said, this would be a good one to show everybody on the ad clinic, the marketing clinic on Friday. So Andrea is going to pull that up, and we'll have a look at it. And I believe it's about his guaranteed sale program, but it could be any USP. Okay, here it is. I really like this one. Can we zoom in on the one at the top? That side at the top. It says, your home sold at a price acceptable to you, guaranteed, or we'll buy it. To discuss the sale of your home, call the Watson team today. And then below, we've got 4 big reasons to call the Watson team to sell your home. Number 1, we've got more buyers. Okay, the Watson team gets you 3.8% more than the average agent. So Bill sells, that's great. That's really good there, Andrea. So Bill sells homes for 3.8% more than the average agent. The Watson team sells your home almost twice as fast, so 22 days on the market. That's more than, not almost, I should say more than twice as fast, not almost twice as fast. That's better than twice as fast. And number 3, more likely to sell. Look at this. The Watson team has sold 100% of the listings they took within that time period versus the average agent at 86%. And benefit number 4, we've got over 5,000 buyers in our database looking for homes. So I really like that. I really like that as a branded postcard. Now, this is a just listed, so you could Jazz, you could hand this out around a property that you just listed or you just sold. That might be a good excuse if you like to door knock. I don't like to do that. I like to use, in the U.S., the Every Door Direct program, or in Canada, we have something similar, and you can just send these out for, in Canada, I think it's about 7 or 8 cents. In the U.S., it's like 15 or 16 cents. And that's the leverage is in marketing. I'm trying to get you guys to get away from doing manual things. So I know you say you like to knock on doors, but just because you like it doesn't mean it's the best use of your time.
No, I agree with you. It's just because the weather is nice, as opposed to just sitting in the office and trying to call all these leads back. I like to kind of get out and meet them. That's just, I think it's a personality thing.
Maybe. But you know what? You could also get a dog and just walk the dog.
Those 4 things that Bill's obviously very seasoned, and he's obviously been doing this business very well at a high level for a very long time. So he's got some, excellent numbers that he puts on here statistically. Now, this farming whole thing I got from your conference when I first started, with you guys back in October, September last year. I never used to farm before, so I'm trying to really do that with IMS and stuff. And so I don't have any of these stats really to put on there. So is there like something a little bit more generic but has the USP and it's kind of catchy and really gets them to call you, or no?
Well, yeah, you could go to bxlprinters.com. We've got some postcards there. But just because you don't have impressive stats, perhaps, you could still use your broker's stats, right? Maybe your broker, your office has impressive stats that you can use. So they don't have to be your statistics. They could be your broker's or your office statistics.
Okay, yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, I guess I'll speak with BXL because they do my unbranded right now, so I'll give her a call and see maybe if I can go through some. I think Andrea's doing it right now as we're talking.
Yeah, do we have any branded there, Andrea? I don't know if we do.
You know, I've never seen a branded on just their regular postcard site. I've never seen a branded.
Yeah, well, that's probably for good reason because I really don't want them doing branded. I want them doing less branded. Why? And I've answered that question because you're going to generate more leads. That. Yep.
I fully understand that because that other postcard that you know, the one, the home down the street and free evaluation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually in the beginning. I was not getting a good response, but I kind of stuck to it, and I'm finding that people, when you do call them back, they're a little bit more receptive because they're not like, oh, this is just another salesperson. Like I like the response. I like talking to those people. So the less branded does work because I think they kind of feel like they're not getting pressured and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah. If what you're really saying is if you just use the system exactly the way it's laid out, what we're doing is we're offering stuff that people want. We're making it easy and non-threatening for them to get that information, and then we follow up with them, and they are receptive.
Yeah, they definitely are.
Yeah. So I would rather you do that than do door knocking or whatever because you like it.
Okay, so what's another unbranded one that you would recommend, less branded, that I could do to match up? Because that one goes out once a month in my farm area, so I send out 5,000 of them. And obviously I'm getting a 2%, something like that, of a response. And, speaking with, I know when I spoke with Bill and I spoke with Warren, Coach Flax, they were saying that's about right nowadays because postcards. So what's another one that I could touch up and put in there at the same time?
I would test any of the postcards on the BXL site because it really doesn't matter which one I think will work better. You think what really matters is what the marketplace says, right? The only vote that counts is the marketplace. So the power you've got with this system is the power to track, and when you can track, you can test. And what you'll find is in your marketplace, in your price range, in your neighborhood, one of these postcards will work better than all the others. And once you find the one that works best, stick with that one. There's no need to just change up the postcard because you think the marketplace has become sick of it, or I sent that one out last week, so I shouldn't send it out again. Remember, the postcard that I found that worked the best had the online home evaluation on one side and the area home sales report on the other, and I sent out 20,000 of them every other week for 15 years. For 15 years. So the marketplace did not get tired of that message. And here's why. Here's what happens. That postcard that Mrs. Smith has been getting every other week for years and years and years, and she's ignored because she was happily married, today she's not happily married, and she's paying attention to that postcard. Mr. Jones, who's received my online home evaluation for years and years and years, and he's thrown that straight in the garbage, was happily employed all that time, but today he's not. So the marketplace is like a moving carousel. So the postcard didn't change, but the situation of the individuals receiving the postcard is what changes.
Yeah, that
anyway,
makes
Jazz,
sense.
we better move on here. We got a lot of questions I got to get through.
Thanks, Craig. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank
you.
Okay, we're back to Chad here. We've got a question from Cassie, and she says, "Good morning. I found the common objections on the coaching website, but is there or will there be a webinar so we can actually hear them?" Cassie, excellent question. Every Thursday on our role play webinars, our role play conversion webinars, that's exactly what we do. We do role playing with you, and you can either play the realtor or the prospect. So you could play the prospect, and you could throw your biggest and baddest objections at me and James McDonald, and we'll show you exactly how to handle them. Okay? Or you play the realtor, and we'll be the prospect, and we'll give you some of the biggest and baddest objections, and we'll see how you handle those. And you're going to get to hear every one of our members who contributes or wants to role play do the same thing. So not only will you get to practice, you'll get to hear other members doing the exact same thing. So it's one of the most important coaching sessions of the week, every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern. That's 8 a.m. out on the West Coast. Next question is from Mary. Mary says, how do I download a postcard for use with my printer? Well, you kind of can't, and I'll tell you why, Mary. I had BXL design these postcards, so it's their artwork. If you want to print that off and you want to take it to your printer and have your printer create the templates for it, then you can do that. But it's not really fair to my printer to have her create the templates and have another printer print them. So you can just print those off the BXL website, and you can have your own printer do it. But why not get a price from my printer? Tell you what, first of all, if you're in the U.S., my printer is in Canada, so you're going to save 30% on the exchange rate right away. And my printer has printed these for hundreds of thousands of postcards for our members, so you're going to know that your postcard looks exactly like my postcard. So if I was you, here's what I would do. I would call BXL, the printer I use, not my company, just a separate printer I use in my town, and I get a price from her. And if she's less expensive than your printer, then I would probably use BXL, because you'll know your postcards will be perfect. If that's not the case, then just print the postcard off, send it to your printer. They'll do up the templates, and you can do it that way. Next question is from David. Most of my prospects are from out of state. And Craig, you said we need to meet with them first before we run around and show them houses. Yep, that's my rules of engagement, David, and I recommend that all of you have those same rules of engagement. So David's question really is, okay, Craig, so I get that. If the buyer is local, we want to get them into the office, and Craig, you've shown us exactly what to say to compel the buyers to want to come and meet with us, and you showed us what to say during that meeting to compel those same buyers to want to sign an exclusive one-year buyer agency agreement to ensure that we get compensated for the time that we spend with them before, that's the key, before you run around and show them houses. But how do we do it if they're out of town? So if you're in Fort Lauderdale and the buyer's in Michigan, how do we do this? Well, it's going to be time that's going to dictate how you handle this. What do I mean by that, David? When you're speaking to the buyer, if the buyer in Michigan says, hey, I'm going to be in Fort Lauderdale in the next couple weeks, then you just do what you normally do. You say, okay, well, when would be a good time for us to get together? You're going to use the script, of course, and the script goes like this. You'd say to the buyer in Michigan, would you like me to email you daily updates of all the homes that match your home buying criteria, including bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, and distress sales? It's a free service. You're never obligated to do anything. Would that interest you? And when they say yes, you say, well, great. When's a good time for us to get together? I understand you're going to be in Fort Lauderdale in the next couple of weeks. What's better for you, Thursday or Friday? Now, if the buyer in Michigan says, well, it's going to be 6 months before I come to Fort Lauderdale, well, you got a big problem, because a lot of bad things can happen in 6 months. Like they get online and start looking at other homes in Fort Lauderdale, and they meet up with another realtor that you compete with. So a lot of bad stuff can happen. In real estate, time's not really our friend, right? So in that situation, what you need to learn to do is you need to learn how to do the buyer appointment over the phone. Now, it is more difficult, but that's what our second home experts are doing. So we've got members in Arizona, in Florida, in the Sun Belt, in parts of California, where a big percentage of their buyers are coming from out of state. So that's how you're going to handle it. Now, one other thing I'll say as well, David, if you know you have a large percentage of your buyers, let's say coming from Michigan or coming from Canada, well, when you have that information, you can do good things with this, because now you know where the buyers are coming from, so we can start to run ads in those places. We can specifically, geographically market those places up north where the buyers are coming from. And now, will all the buyers that you speak to agree to sign the buyer agency agreement? Like, how would this look over the phone? Well, you could do a webinar like we're doing right now. So you've got my VIP buyer presentation. You could say, if you're speaking to the wife, when would be a good time for me to do a presentation on how I can best help you, to both husband and wife. And they're in front of their computer, and you're going through all of the slides, and you're basically doing the VIP buyer presentation just as if they were sitting across the table from you at your office in Fort Lauderdale. So that's the answer to that question. Ricky and Angela Riggs. I am new to the program and getting everything set up. After purchasing benefit-rich domain names for ads, do we just tell Success website? And will they connect the website to the appropriate link on the unbranded site? Yes. The answer is yes. If you register domain names and you don't tell Success website about those domain names, then when you go to TMS, that stands for Track My Success, the tracking won't be there. And that's one of the biggest benefits of my program. There's a lot of benefits to my program, but one of the biggest benefits of the program is the fact that you can track every penny you spend on marketing and advertising. So the Track My Success feature on the Success website is huge. Make sure they know about all your domain names so they're being tracked. Okay. This is from Karam. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that properly, but it says, I am new and on a tight budget. I'm considering signing up with Success website, and I'm eager to start generating leads. Look, that's a no-brainer. You should sign up. Absolutely. Start with at least the less branded site. But since they give you a free trial for 60 days, why not get both? Get the branded site and the less branded site. Heck, you could even try their HDX, which is their version of IDX. You can try them all at no risk to you. So everyone should go for that. It is an integral part of the Craig Proctor program. Let me repeat that again, just so everyone hears that. The Success website is an integral part of the Craig Proctor program. You should all have it. Robert is asking, or stating, since unbranded tends to be more effective, is there a way to remove the image portion? Okay, I'm not sure exactly what Robert's referring to. Robert, maybe you can go to audio, and if Robert's got audio, we'll take that question when he raises his hand. Next question is...
when you're ready.
Okay, all right, let's go to Robert.
Robert, your telephone line is open.
Hey, Robert.
Hi, guys. I was calling about one moment. I'm going to grab my computer.
Did we catch you off guard?
Yeah. All right. So when I go to create the custom ads, I'm always required to basically put a picture on the left-hand side. I was wondering if there was a way to not leave an image there, or if that's just the way it is.
Okay, I'm still not getting it. You're required to put a picture of what on the left-hand side?
For the ads that are automatically created.
I think he means the USP ads.
The USP ads, yes.
Okay. So you don't want to have your picture on the USPs?
No.
Okay. Well, what's your rationale behind that?
I was thinking that if I took them off, it would be less branded. But if you guys recommend putting the images there, I was just wondering.
Okay. So let me explain what we're trying to do with the two types of advertising. With your branded advertising, you know, most real estate agents, you know, they have a glamour shot of themselves. They talk about how great they are and all their designations, and that is pretty ineffective because there's no call to action and you can't measure that at all. And you're simply creating an awareness. Now, just because somebody knows a prospect, people in your market know who you are, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to call you when they're ready. I'm sure you've had a friend or a relative, someone that knows you quite well, list with another realtor. So we know that just because somebody knows you, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to use you. So what we're attempting to do with the USP advertising, in addition to the less branded advertising that you're doing, is we're trying to create this presence in your marketplace, Robert, so people don't only know who you are, they understand clearly what makes you different and better than all the other realtors. Now, not only will that type of advertising pay for itself, where you'll be able to measure that you'd get more business because of leads you generate than what the ad costs, the other benefit to having a strong USP, think about this, when you're running a less branded campaign, like maybe one of the editorial ads where it looks like news, not from an ad from the newspaper, and you're following up with one of those prospects who doesn't know you, but when you call them back and you say, hey, this is Robert Haynes, and the reason I was calling is I received your request for the costly home seller information. I wanted to let you know I've sent that information out to you. What if they said, Robert, oh, you're Robert, you're the guy here locally that buys homes for cash? Or you're the guy that will guarantee that I'll get an offer on my home in 60 days, or you'll pay me $1,000 cash? So when we get both of these things working at the same time, not only will you make money when you're promoting your USP and have those ads pay for themselves, it's actually going to help you with your less branded advertising when it comes to conversion.
I got you. Right.
So that's why there's a place for both.
Okay. Right. I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Robert. Good question. Okay, next question is from Ira. Ira says, I have a problem with other agents going to a home before me on a listing presentation and overpricing it to get the listing. Well, look, if they're already there before you speak to the prospect, there's not a whole lot you can do with that. But if you remember at the Super Conference, I always prefer to be the last agent in, and I say to all of you, I say, what can go wrong with this strategy? And you folks say, well, what if they list with one of the other agents before you get there? Then being last in is a really, really bad idea. And I say, yes, I agree. But here's what we want to say over the phone to dramatically reduce the chances of them listing with one of the other realtors before you get there, which is, we'll go right from the top, are you going to be speaking with other realtors? If they say yes, you're going to say, well, I'd like to be the last realtor you meet with so I can show you how much extra I do to get your home sold. When are you going to be speaking with the other realtors? Okay, Tuesday and Wednesday. Oh, well, how about Thursday? Great. Now, I'm going to do a fair amount of work. Here's the key. I'm going to do a fair amount of work in preparation for our appointment on Thursday, and all I ask in return is for your commitment that you won't sign anything with one of the other agents before you and I have a chance to meet. Does that sound fair? Now, once you get their commitment, for them to list with one of the realtors means they have to call you and tell you basically they lied to you. I'm not saying it never happens. I'm saying it dramatically reduces the chance of that happening. But look, going in first can be a problem. Going in last can be a problem. You're going to have to figure this out. I'm just saying, for me, I always prefer to be last and use that language to get myself positioned as last in and to lock in that last in appointment and try my darndest to make sure that I've got their commitment. They're not going to do the thing that you just said they're doing to you. Okay, next question. This is from Kathy Decker. Kathy says, do you try to sign the contract then, or do you book a second appointment based on what you saw about their property? Okay, so what Kathy's asking is, do you do a one-step listing appointment or a two-step? I believe that's what she's asking. Well, I'm going to do a one-step. I'm going to look at the property, try to get it listed. Now, the only time I might do a two-step, and this feeds right back to Ira's question, is if I get to their home and I thought I was going to be last in, and they're not ready to, I get to the end of my benefits portion of the listing presentation, and I find that they're not ready to list with me, I'll hold back price and I'll turn the one-step appointment into a two-step, and I will intentionally book my second appointment after they've met with the final agent. So now I'm the last agent. That's how I'll handle that. Okay. Okay, Ricky and Angela are asking, how do we gain access to realestatestatistics.com? Okay, well, that's exactly where you go. You go to realestatestatistics.com. That's the actual site, but there is a place to register, and I know that Andrea has this, so Andrea is going to take you there.
I do have it, but the last time I went to it, it was not working, so I'm going to try it today. It was qlsystemstats.com, and that just takes you to the login page now. So it was doing this last week, I believe, and unfortunately I'm not sure if they've changed the site name or what they've done.
Okay, well, maybe we can check into that. That's not the sign-up page, but there should be a phone number on here somewhere. Contact us. Click on Contact Us. Okay, that's the phone number you're going to call right there. They're in Toronto. You're going to call the toll-free number, if you're not in Toronto, 877-785-4321. Now, make sure you tell them when you call that you're a Craig Proctor coaching member. They will verify that with our office, and then you'll get the low price on this, which I think is like $30 a month. So versus a lot more if you're not a member. Okay, we're running out of time here, folks. As you think of questions, please write them down. That's what we're here for. So you can email your questions to your coach. You can, of course, ask your coach these questions when you speak to your coach. Every Monday, we do our free-for-all helpline session like we're doing today. Now, some of you are going to have a coaching session with me on Wednesday. All of you should be with me on Thursday with James McDonald and I as we do the role-play session. This is we're going to help you become way better with what you do with the leads. Like generating the leads truly is the easy part with my program. It's what you do and say when you're following up the leads that's critically important. So we help you with that every Thursday. So any difficulties you're having with follow-up, any objections that you need some help with, that's what we're going to help you with on Thursday. And then on Friday is our marketing clinic. This is your opportunity to upload your ads. And we're going to look at your ads and look at everybody's ads who submits an ad, and we're going to show you examples of ads that are really, really good. And we'll show you some examples of ads that maybe aren't so good and how you can improve your response. So in a perfect world, you would send us the ads even before you run them so we can help you optimize them. But, if you're already running the ads, and even if you're getting a good response, maybe we can tweak the ad so it even helps you get a better response. So this should be something all of you are really interested in because marketing and advertising usually costs money. But I want to thank everybody for being part of the Craig Proctor Coaching Program. I hope you enjoyed our session here today. Look forward to all of the other sessions we have planned this week. Everyone have a great day, and that concludes today's Helpline webinar session. Thanks, Andrea, for all your help.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a wonderful afternoon, and talk to you all very soon.